The first thing I want to show you is a new feature in ICE 4.8. It's exporting IFC simulation results to the IFC model. And the requirements for this is that you need to import an IFC model. So you need to use an IFC model to get the space IDs. And the results after the simulation are exported to this to these space IDs, and then you can merge them again to the original IFC model. So I have an IFC model here, and I did the thermal model and I did the simulations. You need also a requirement, you need to do heating and cooling load calculation. And if you've done that, you can go to Tools, and there is an option Export to IFC. And if I click that, I can save the results to an IFC model, and I can merge the results then later with the original IFC model.
Those of you attending the simple BIM session tomorrow will actually be doing this exercise.
Then another thing you probably realized in 4.8 that you can zoom in the floor plan with the mouse wheel. But that's not what I want to show. You can also zoom in the schematic view. If you press the Control key and then use your mouse wheel, you can zoom in the schematic view. Then another thing which has been requested very often is that until version 4.71 it was only possible to use the floor heating in floors. But in 4.8 you're also able to add it to walls, so you can easily create wall heating. Okay. The next thing is some new features in visualization. So if I visualize, for example, from the heat load calculation, supplied heat for the zones, I'm now able to adapt the color code and the range of the shown data just by double clicking here the color bar, and then I can add a minimum and a maximum value, for example, and I can also adapt or change the colors here, which should be shown. Let's do something like this. Then you can like create your own colored pictures of your results. Another very neat thing is in 4.8 that you can split zones. So I select a zone here, for example, and then I right click and I can choose split zone with a slab. And then I enter the height of the slab. And now you have two zones, one on top, one on bottom. Okay. This is also possible with a wall. So if I go to the floor plan and then I right click here, and I choose split zone with a wall, and then I give a point here and a point here, and then I can split it with a wall. Kind of a problem is that getting a straight line might be a bit difficult. What you can do is you can draw the first point and then hold the shift key, and then I can click anywhere on the other side and I will get a straight line. Okay, so now it's split straight line. Then it is also possible to multi-select in the General tab here in the table. I press the Shift key, or first I select the first zone, and then I press the Shift key and I select the last zone, and then I can also copy and paste these data to Excel, for example, or any other tool you want, which is text-based. In the resources, here there is a new button. It's called Remove Unused Resources, and if I click it, ICE will automatically remove all the resources which are not used in this model. It's very good to get an overview what's used and not. Okay, so then the next thing is a function. It's called, or a feature. It's called Editable Forms. This enables you to adapt the user interface to your own needs. It's also in Preferences and Forms, and here you have a checkbox. You can click Editable Forms. And if I add this, I can now change the user interface to my needs. For example, in the Simulation tab, if I want to have the time split function directly here, to just click, I want to use time split or not, I can go to the Simulation Data, Advanced tab, and this function actually I want to have in here to access it directly from here. Then I can right click here and choose New Field, and then I need to navigate to the field I want to add in here, and this is in Simulation Data, and then here it is Use Time Split, and then I have to choose how I want to show this. And now I want to have name value unit, and I click OK, and I have now this checkbox here, and I can also of course adapt or change the text of this. If I right click, go to Properties, and I can change here the text which is shown. Okay. So it's now called Time Split. I'll make it a little bigger or not. And this is also very useful if you, for example, if you then switch the tab, you need to save this, that you have it available. Or now I discard it.
It's loaded for all projects.
Yes, this is then.
This is rebuilding your ICE installation.
Basically, yeah.
It's not entirely unproblematic with new versions.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you get back to the reports? I mean, you completely destroy the form.
Yeah. So I mean, the original IDC files are not overwritten, so they are stored separately. And if you just delete them, you will get back to the original.
But then you need to know where it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you show where it is?
I can show where it is. You want to see that? Okay.
No, actually, you can get it from the view, right? View.
No, it's not in the private folder. It's in the virtual store folder.
Okay. So then you need to show it.
No? Don't you? Okay. If anyone wants to know where it is, ask me. I can show you where it is. But this is also very helpful.
It's not handled by IDA, but Windows.
Yes. Because you're not allowed to overwrite anything in the C drive or not from a program.
Files,
yeah. But for example, this control, for example, this P controller, it does not have a form yet. So you're also able to create your own form for a controller. If you or I never can remember how this proportional controller works, for example. So okay, it's not in this version, but I just added a picture. I can show you. I create a simple form, and then I can right click here and I choose new graphics, and I can add a picture, for example, how this controller works, and this makes it much easier to work with the component actually if you have a form which you can understand.
We could also do that.
Yeah, if we have the resources for that. Yeah. Okay, and the last thing I want to show you is how you can create something like this. This is a comfort diagram. You have here the relative humidity on y-axis and the air temperature on x-axis. And this is just a common comfort diagram. That in the green polygon it is very comfortable, and in the red polygon it's just comfortable, and everything outside is not comfortable. Okay. I created this with a cross-reference diagram, and I drew these polygons in there, and I now show you how to do this. First, I turn off Editable Forms again. So if I have two diagrams here, for example, main temperatures and relative humidity, I want to have in one diagram. I just drag and drop relative humidity to the temperature diagram, and then I go to Calc and I choose cross dependency, and I choose operative temperature, and then I get a cross-reference diagram. I have temperature here and relative humidity here, and then I can adapt the axis. For example, I want to have relative humidity from 0 to 100 and temperature from 16 to 33, for example. Oh, I need also to choose here hourly average, and then I can show the whole year here. So now you have like all the hourly averages in cross-reference. Okay, and then I can right-click here and I choose new graphics, and then I draw a polygon here. And it's not accurate, of course, but it's only the example. You can get, of course, the correct points for the polygon from a template, for example. And then I right-click, I go to the properties, and then I can change colors here, and I can change the width of the line, and I can create it like you saw before in the picture. And another important question is then, how can I count the number of hours that are within this polygon? And I wasn't able to do it on my own, but we have some people here that can do almost anything. So I asked them, and Pasha sent me a script on how to do this. And if I go to run script here, and I prepared it and I saved it, and this script looks something like this. And here, the only thing I change here is are the boundaries of the polygon. Here is the temp. Oh, sorry. Here is the temperature and the humidity, and I just like put in the numbers, temperature and humidity for each point bordering the polygon I want to have, and I choose here a step 1, and then I just press. I need to have the diagram active with temperature and humidity in there, and then I press run, and I get the number of hours within this polygon. Okay, and then I can change the polygon, and I can see how many hours are in the other polygon.
Can you change how the diagram looks to reuse it for others?
You can save the look of the diagram in a separate text file and then load it again. That's possible. Yeah. So if you like, if you're done with how the diagram should look like, then you can go to File and Save Form As, and then you can save the style of the diagram, so color of variables and how the lines look like, and any text or background color or whatever you adapted, you can save, and you can reopen other diagrams with this style then again.
Also a bit dangerous because you will then change your diagram, that type of diagram for every case. Right?
No.
Okay.
No. So you can then not. So it depends. I mean, if you overwrite the original file, then yes, but you shouldn't do that. Never do that. Never overwrite the default stuff. Then you can always go back. But you can right-click on the diagram, and then you can choose here Open with Form, and then you can choose the form you want to open it with. and then you get the style of the new form you saved it. Okay, so that's it. Thanks a lot, and if you have questions, just don't hesitate to ask.